Dear viewers, we are witnessing one of the greatest natural disasters in Taiwan's history. Typhoon Krathon, the strongest Category 4 storm in over 40 years, is heading directly toward Kaohsiung, the island's largest port city. The typhoon is advancing at an alarming speed, bringing with it extreme gusts of wind, reaching over 160 kilometers per hour. This city is facing a life-or-death challenge as millions of residents rush against time to find safe shelter. But is there truly any place secure enough against the fury of nature? The city of Kaohsiung, home to over 2.7 million people, now resembles a battlefield. Residents pour into the streets in panic, desperately trying to find shelter before the storm strikes with full force. Powerful winds tear through, dragging signs and wooden debris from buildings, making every street more dangerous than ever. A sense of helplessness hangs in the air as time ticks away and the storm looms closer, like a giant beast devouring everything in its path. The western coast of Taiwan, where Typhoon Krathon is set to make direct landfall, is facing terrifying waves. These waves, towering as high as buildings, crash violently against the shore, creating a scene of devastation and haunting destruction. The seawater surges inland, sweeping away everything in its path, from trees and rocks to small boats that stand no chance against the overwhelming force of nature. This is the first warning of the tremendous destruction the storm will bring as it moves inland. We have never faced a storm with the power of Krathon, Mayor Chen Chi-mai addressed the entire city. He warned of the potential for a repeat of the disaster caused by Typhoon Thelma in 1977, when hundreds of people lost their lives due to lack of preparation. Coastal areas, rivers, and mountainous regions have all been issued extreme danger warnings, and residents are urged to immediately move to higher ground or further inland. He emphasized, this is not the time to be complacent. For your safety and the safety of your family. The skyscrapers in Kaohsiung, symbols of prosperity and development, now stand powerless against the force of Typhoon Krathon. Fierce winds shatter the glass windows, sending shards plummeting to the streets like sharp arrows. Explosive sounds echo throughout the city as the storm pounds the buildings, creating a suffocating and terrifying atmosphere. People must avoid the main streets, which have now become deadly traps filled with debris and the overwhelming power of the wind. Evacuation efforts are proceeding urgently, but with Krathon's ferocity, getting people out of the danger zone has become more difficult than ever. Strong winds and heavy rain hinder every attempt to move, yet rescue teams continue to persevere despite the looming dangers. Trucks are carrying residents away from the flooded areas, but with each passing minute, the floodwaters rise higher, increasing the risk of being swept away. Rescue helicopters are now the only hope for those trapped in the isolated areas. However, flying helicopters in the midst of Typhoon Krathon is an extremely dangerous task. The strong winds violently shake the helicopter blades, while heavy rain reduces the pilot's visibility. Despite this, they refuse to give up, making every effort to reach each area to rescue those stranded in the raging floodwaters. The scene in the southern areas of Kaohsiung now resembles a land submerged beneath a sea of water. Dark, murky floodwaters sweep through every street, carrying away everything from cars and trees to household belongings. Residents are forced to climb onto rooftops to escape the rising water, but the rain continues to pour relentlessly, showing no sign of stopping. All hopes now rest on the storm weakening soon, but will nature truly show mercy? Weather forecasters have reported that while Krathon may weaken as it moves inland, residents must not be complacent. With its power, the storm could regain strength and continue to devastate other densely populated areas in northern Taiwan. The eye of the storm is moving slowly, which only makes the situation more dangerous, as strong winds and heavy rains will last longer, causing immeasurable damage. In Tainan, the atmosphere has grown tense and anxious as Typhoon Krathon approaches. Residents are scrambling to reinforce their homes, businesses, and prepare for what could be a catastrophic storm. The rain has started to pour down, with icy winds carrying the looming threat of the typhoon. No one dares to go outside. Everyone waits in anxious anticipation, unsure of what will happen next. Although not directly in the path of the storm, Taipei is also suffering significant impacts from Typhoon Krathon. The city government has decided to extend the public holiday by another day to ensure residents' safety. Financial markets remain closed, and people are being urged to stay indoors. The city is in a state of paralysis, waiting as the storm continues its destructive journey. The Ministry of Defense of Taiwan has deployed more than 38,000 soldiers under the highest state of alert. The military is prepared for any situation, from humanitarian relief to disaster response. Military helicopters are being mobilized to support rescue efforts in Kaohsiung and Tainan. This is not just a battle against nature, but a fight for the survival of thousands of citizens. Amidst the raging Typhoon Krathon, rescue teams continue their relentless efforts. Every precious second could save a life. Rescue helicopters are working tirelessly, landing in flooded areas and evacuating people from danger zones. The fierce winds make every attempt more difficult, but the rescuers press on, knowing there is no time to waste. After hours of devastation, Typhoon Krathon has begun to weaken. However, the damage it leaves behind is immeasurable. Once bustling residential areas are now reduced to piles of rubble, submerged in floodwaters. Families have lost their homes, and sturdy structures are now nothing more than debris. Everything has been swept away by the floodwaters. Recovery efforts will take weeks, if not months, but the scars left by the storm will never fade. Typhoon Krathon has passed, but the aftermath lingers. The city of Kaohsiung, once a symbol of prosperity, is now reduced to rubble. Yet, in the darkness of destruction, the people of Taiwan remain resilient. They will rise, they will rebuild, but the memory of Krathon, the most powerful storm in over 40 years, will never fade. It is a stark reminder of life's fragility in the face of nature's uncontrollable force.